Welcome to the online caregiver training. Thank you so much for your interest in the caregiver provided life review study. My name is Donna Amsberg, and I'm a clinical associate professor at the University of Houston's Graduate College of Social Work. Today, I will explain to you what life review is and what we will do with this caregiver provided life review study. This online course will provide you with basic knowledge about life review, teach you how to do the life review sessions with your loved ones, and show you some demonstrations of listening and interviewing skills. After watching this PowerPoint and listening to the audio, if you have any questions, please address them to our principal investigator, Dr. Christina Milwaukee, or your assigned research assistant. They will be happy to answer any questions you have. Enjoy the online video. Have you ever wondered about your life events? Do you often recall your past? Do you enjoy talking about your past times? Do you enjoy remembering your childhood years? What is reminiscence? We all reminisce. Enjoyable recollections of past events. We share stories about our life experiences, our memories, and events from our past with others. But when we reminisce, there's no real order. What is life review? It's a structured activity to remember one's past in chronological order. We intentionally remember things from our past to the present, from our childhood years to now, and share these life stories with someone we trust. Sometimes, life review is used to treat depressive symptoms. It has been known to be an effective depression therapy for older adults. Typically, life review therapy is conducted by trained healthcare professionals, such as a therapist, counselors, and social workers. Life review sessions are held individually or in a group facilitated by a trained healthcare professional. Life review sessions usually take 6 to 8 weeks. Each life review session lasts approximately 1 to 2 hours, and it's costly. Why is life review important? Everyone's life has many ups and downs. We all have many fond events, but some regrettable events as well. Life review therapy leads to an ability to heal emotionally and spiritually. It can create changes in the way that the remainder of life is lived. If the session is recorded, your loved one's life and legacy can be passed down to future generations. What are the benefits of a life review? Individuals have an opportunity to share experiences with someone else, a bond or establish a deeper relationship, reduce depressive symptoms, pride on one's accomplishments, increase life satisfaction, increase energy by getting rid of old baggage. Self-acceptance may be increased. Reconnect with others like family and old friends. Feelings of contentment and peace. look ahead with future plans. What are the drawbacks of a life review? A life review is not for everyone. Some personality types, someone who doesn't see hope ahead, someone with too severe a depression. Some people experience anxiety, guilt, depression, panic, or obsessions. These individuals should be treated with other methods. Let's talk about the history of life review. Dr. Robert Butler discovered that people synthesize and integrate the life they have lived. The process occurs naturally and may take many forms. It may be experienced through dreams. Sometimes people who share their experiences feel increased self-esteem and avoid depression and isolation. There is one more important person to remember in relation to life review. Dr. Erik Erikson, a psychologist, developed the 8 stages of psychosocial development. Our lives follow a pattern of stages, and each stage has a goal. If you do not meet the goal, there are consequences. For instance, if we look at the very first stage that takes place in infancy, so from the time of birth to 18 months, the basic stage is trust versus mistrust. Children develop a sense of trust when caregivers provide reliability in care and in affection. A lack of this will lead to mistrust. Conversely, if we look at the last level, the level of maturity, which typically takes place around the ages of 65 and older, this is a time in which individuals reflect upon their life. Older adults need to look back on life and feel a sense of fulfillment. While success at this stage leads to a feeling of wisdom, if the individual looks back on their life and feels like they have not accomplished as much as they would have liked, failure may result in terms of regret and bitterness and despair. What is caregiver-provided life review? Caregiver-provided life review is innovative in 4 significant ways. It is non-stigmatized in its delivery, which means it's provided by you. It has a convenient delivery setting. It is delivered in your home or your loved one's home. There is a flexible delivery schedule. This is based entirely on you and your loved one's schedule. It is economically cost-free. Let's move on to how you and your loved one conduct caregiver-provided life review. For the life review, we will focus on 6 life review sessions. You will start with your loved one's early childhood. This is the very first session with your loved one. Some of the questions that you might find yourself asking your loved one are listed here, such as, what is the very first thing you can remember in your life? What other things do you remember about when you were very young? What was your life like for you as a child? Did you have any brothers or sisters? Tell me what each was like. Did you have childhood friends and playmates, a best friend? Tell me about the pets you had as a child. Feel free to ask other questions based on your loved one's answers, being sure to focus the questions on their early childhood experiences. This is the second session, focusing on family and homes. Some of the questions you may ask will sound like, tell me about your family. Who was in your family? You may have to ask them who they consider to be their family. Did everyone get along? Where did you live while you grew up? One place or many different places? Describe your house and the surrounding area of your home. Did your family have any kind of routines that you did every day? This is the third session, the adolescent session. This is exclusive to your loved one's teenage years. Some of the questions you may ask may sound like, let's talk about your teenage years. How do you feel about your teenage years? What is the first thing you remember about your teenage years? Tell me about your school, high school. Describe the relationship you had with teachers and friends. Did you participate in any sports or school activities? If your loved one returns to past events or skips ahead of this life stage, that's fine. Try to bring them back to their teenage years, or you may choose just to listen. This is the fourth session, focusing on your loved one's young adult experiences. Some of the questions you may ask will sound like, what was your life like when you were in your 20s and 30s? What was your first job like? How did you handle it? Do you think of yourself as responsible? Were you happy with the decisions that you made during this period? What was the most pleasure you had during this time? Did you marry someone? Did you have children? Tell me about them. Depending on their experience, feel free to edit some of the questions or maybe even probe deeper. This is the fifth session, next to the last, and you are focusing with your loved one on their older adult years. Typically, this is around middle age, between the years of their 40s and 50s. Describe your most rewarding job. Tell me the highlight of your family life. What about the most difficult time in your life so far? What did you do to help you get through the situation? Did this event change you in any way? And if so, how? What about your relationships with your friends? Did you have hobbies that you continued throughout your life? Some people had challenging times earlier in life. If that is the case, you may go back to the most challenging time and reflect on how that period has influenced your loved one's older adult years. This is the sixth and final session, and one of the ones that is most important. This is the last session of your life review with your loved one and is one of the most important sessions. Now that you and your loved one have reviewed all of their life periods, you both learned about their happy memories as well as not so pleasant ones. But sharing those memories with you should lessen the burden of the unpleasant or regretful memories. That is the direction that you want to lead in and end the entire session on positive notes so that your loved one feels good about their life. Some of the questions you may ask may start off with, now that we have reviewed your life, let's talk about your overall feelings about your life. What would you say the main satisfactions in your life have been? Let's count the top 3. And why were they satisfying? What was the proudest moment in your life? What advice would you give to others to help them enjoy life more? Are there any traditions that you want your grandchildren or other families to know about? Tell me your happiest memory. Why is it the happiest memory among many good memories? The important thing is to end the life review session with encouragement. Now let's look at preparing for the life review sessions. You want to make sure that the session is conducted in a comfortable environment. So that includes privacy, good lighting, a quiet place, a comfortable temperature, and seating arrangements so that you are face to face with your loved one. With your loved one's permission, you may audio or videotape the sessions. You should schedule them weekly, but be aware that flexibility is important. The duration of each session should be anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. The structure is keeping track of each session and being mindful of the health of your care recipient or of your loved one. If your loved one gets tired, you can certainly end the session early. And if they're simply not up to it, simply reschedule the session. It is an honor and privilege to hear your loved one's life stories. Respect your loved ones for the decisions that they made at the time. Put their decision or life choices into perspective. If you disagree with the decision they have made, remember to please be respectful. Prepare yourself for hearing the same stories repeated, and prepare yourself for hearing new stories. Let's talk about some interview techniques. Caregivers become a therapeutic listener. That is accomplished through attentive behavior. You demonstrate interest, listen, and be present. Repetition. Let your loved one repeat the same stories several times and continue the life review. Reframing. Restate past events in a different context. This allows loved ones to understand that you heard their story. Responding. Say or do something to show reactions. It can be as simple as nodding your head. Reflecting feelings. This is the process of giving back your emotions. It's okay to show happiness, surprise, and maybe even some sadness. Additional skills include paraphrasing. You restate your loved one's words. Encouragement to talk. Use short cues to show more interest. This encourages your loved one to talk even more. Summarizing. Restate the main points of the life review session. Integrating. This helps you make a composite of separate parts. In other words, you are bringing the story together. Now let's review each interviewing technique. You will have the opportunity to review each technique as demonstrated by 2 volunteers. Now that you have successfully completed the training, here are some more helpful guides. Please make sure to check the preparation and session questions sheet every week to prepare for the session. We will check if you are following this protocol every week. A list of additional session questions, life review sample questions, is included in this packet. Please go over this PowerPoint as many times as possible to remind yourself. This is the end of the caregiver training. Congratulations, you have completed the caregiver training. The following are the next steps. This video is self-paced training and uses an honor system that we trust you have watched the entire video and listened to the instructions carefully. Once you have completed the training, you will receive a certificate of completion. Dr. Miyawaki will be notified of your completion of the training. Dr. Miyawaki will assign you to a research assistant and email you with their name, contact email, and telephone number. The research assistant will contact you to set the starting date of your first life review session with your loved one within a few days after you received Dr. Miyawaki's email. The research assistant will also set a date and time for your weekly Fidelity check-in calls. Once these dates and times are set, you will start your first life review session with your loved one. Thank you very much for watching this PowerPoint. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Dr. Miyawaki at the email address on this slide or your research assistant. We are partners for the next 7 to 8 weeks. Congratulations and enjoy your life review activities with your loved one.